We've all played around with AI, right? Asked it to write an email, maybe answer a quick question. But what if you could give it a whole project? Just walk away and it comes back with the finished product? Well, that's the giant leap we're talking about today, moving from a simple chatbot to what's essentially an autonomous AI employee. Let's meet your first digital hire. So this is the most important thing to get your head around: the massive difference between an AI that's a talker and one that's a doer. For years, we've had talkers. You go to ChatGPT and ask, hey, what are the steps to build a website? And boom, it gives you a perfect to-do list. But an AI agent, that's a doer. You tell it, build me a website, and it comes back with a live URL. It doesn't tell you how to do it, it just does it. And that's exactly where something like Manus AI fits in. It's a perfect example of this new doer category. And the real key is a mindset shift. You have to stop thinking of it as a tool you have to operate and start treating it like a team member you can delegate tasks to. A team member who, by the way, keeps working long after you've logged off for the day. So what exactly is an autonomous agent? Well, those words right there, independently plans and executes, that's where all the magic is. When you give it a goal, it's not just one single AI fumbling around. It's more like a project manager that instantly assembles its own little team of specialists: a researcher agent, a coding agent, a planner. It figures out the plan, dishes out the tasks, and manages the whole workflow from start to finish. So let's break down how this AI employee actually thinks. First, it has to understand your goal, just like you'd brief a colleague. Then, it creates a step-by-step plan. This is its project management phase. After that, it gets its hands dirty, executing every single one of those tasks: browsing the web, writing code, crunching data. And finally, it pulls all that work together into one finished, polished product for you to review. All right, theory is one thing, but let's actually put our new AI employee to the test. It's their first day on the job, so let's delegate a couple of real-world tasks and see how it really performs. Okay, for our first project, we're not asking for advice or a how-to guide, we're giving a direct order. We want a landing page for new app. But notice the most important part of this prompt, the two little words at the end: deploy it. We're not asking for the code, we want a live, functioning website. So let's see what it does. And there it is. This is the wow moment, seriously. Manus AI didn't just dump a folder of code on us. It wrote the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript. It then found a place to host it, deployed the entire site, and handed back a working URL, a link you can actually click and share with people. It handled the entire project from start to finish. Okay, building a website is one thing. That was pretty incredible. But now let's try a totally different kind of task. This time, we're handing it a research project. The kind of tedious competitor analysis that would take a person hours of boring work. We're asking it to find the data and, more importantly, put it into a format that's actually useful. And just like that, it's done. Again, it didn't just give us a list of links to read. No, it understood the assignment, it went out and found the top competitors, it pulled the exact data we asked for: products, pricing, marketing, and then it organized everything neatly into a spreadsheet we can download and use immediately. It turned a vague research goal into a professional-grade report. So our new AI employee has had a pretty productive first day. But, just like any new hire, it's not perfect. To really get the best work out of it, we need to understand what it's good at and where it needs a little help. So it's time for its first performance review. Let's be honest here. On the one hand, the strengths are amazing. It's a tireless worker that can code and research 24/7 without a break. But on the other hand, there are definitely areas for improvement. Really complex jobs can be slow, sometimes taking over 10 minutes. And if you give it a vague goal, it can totally misunderstand you and go off in the wrong direction. And finally, you gotta watch your budget. Each task uses credits, and a big project can burn through them faster than you think. So how do you become a good manager for your AI employee? Well, first, be super specific. A clear, detailed project brief gets a much better result. Second, use that knowledge feature. It's like giving your employee some background reading. You can upload brand guidelines or other files for it to reference. And finally, just keep an eye on your credits. And for those bigger jobs, it's not a bad idea to check in on its plan to see how things are going. And that really is the heart of it all. We're at a huge turning point. The conversation about AI is no longer just about using a clever tool to help us out. It's about learning how to effectively delegate entire projects to an autonomous agent that can genuinely work alongside us as part of the team. So that leaves us with one last big question. And I want you to really think about this for your own life, your own job.
Look at your to-do list at all the repetitive time-sucking tasks you have to do every single week. What is the very first thing you would take off your plate and hand over to your new AI employee?